Hi, I'm James Lamont, Fellow at the Vidine Center for Rural Economic Development at the University of Minnesota Crookston. Today we're going to talk about wildfires and their impact on global agriculture. This has been an intense season. Whether you're in the Midwest, the northeastern United States, or various parts of the U.S., you've likely experienced weeks now where there's been massive smoke blanketing the sky. This is naturally something that happens every few years, but it doesn't happen several times in the course of one season or one summer. So New York, Boston, et cetera, the air quality has just been absolutely horrible as a result of fires coming from Western Canada. You've also likely saw over the last week or so the major fires in Maui. This is also atypical. It's been over 100 years since they have had wildfires to that extent. And to some degree, some people are basically measuring that this will be the most costly from a human perspective in this century in terms of a wildfire. So I decided to explore the impact of wildfires on agriculture. You know, it's obviously impacting humans, but how's it impacting agriculture across the world? Right now in Western Canada, the fires are so intense that farmers are receiving aid. They've been very devastating, and whether it's crop or livestock, there are several programs in place to kind of help with or offset many of these losses. In addition to that, areas surrounding those particular farms and large swaths of land impacted by wildfire are also seeing major detriment to crop production. In the United States, we're seeing major impact on corn crops, just based on the fact that, poor sunlight and air quality hinder the photosynthesis process. And then those reduced yield productions obviously could leverage or translate into market implications that are somewhat negative. Within the Maui area, there are many sort of tropical fruit plantations, as well as other harvested woods, specialized woods that have been impacted. And then in other parts of the world, like Indonesia, on the other side of the Pacific, they're seeing very similar wildfires. The news doesn't quite catch it as well here in the United States, but the bottom line up front is similar problems in Indonesia that you're seeing in Maui, and large areas of agricultural production are impacted as a result of this. The wildfire years, obviously, or this year in Southern Europe, primarily the Mediterranean. You've read about probably the Iberian Peninsula and Italy and the impact that these fires have had on agriculture there, coupled with Turkey, where, again, livestock as well as major grazing areas are impacted by these particular incidents. So what you're starting to see globally are a number of governments, private sector, et cetera, coming together and creating innovative responses, if you will, to agricultural and wildfire management. In Greece, there's been a major campaign called Every Life, or translates to Every Life Has Value, where animals are being saved from Greek wildfires. There's a unique collaboration among activists, responders, as well as communities and farming companies, not only doing initial rescue, but also bringing awareness around protecting wildlife and needs. Same thing with, cattle and its role in fighting wildfires. People don't realize that cattle have been deployed to actually help with defense. Grazing helps obviously mitigate fire breaks and reduces the spread of fire. And it's a pretty innovative approach to managing vegetation, which could basically act as kindred. There have been calls globally to create diversified and more resilient farming techniques. This is something throughout this series with AgMark. We've talked about that. Obviously, the world's changing, so agriculture kind of needs to change with it and be more proactive. And then, the USDA and the meteorological community that supports the various USDA programs continue to worry about out years and how these crops can be impacted as a result of wildfires and or the smoke associated with the wildfires. So I think you're going to see a lot more international collaboration in the coming years, joint efforts involving governments to become more innovative, both on crop practices, but also fire mitigation and suppression efforts. Thank you for joining me for video 67, and I hope to see you next time.